While it's usually pretty obvious as to which movies are gonna grab Oscar nominations by the time award season rolls around, the Academy has definitely made more than a few eyebrow-raising choices when it comes to nods throughout the years. That's why we're breaking down 10 of the most shocking Oscar-nominated movies ever right here on Listed. When you think Oscar-nominated, names like Steven Spielberg, Meryl Streep, and Forrest Gump probably come to mind. But one name that you probably never thought could be associated with the Oscars that actually is NORBIT. Yup, Eddie Murphy's critically panned movie about a shy man engaged to a much larger spirited woman, also played by Eddie Murphy, can actually call itself an Oscar-nominated film. While it wasn't up for one of the bigger awards such as Best Picture or Best Actor, NORBIT did snag a nod for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. We can actually get behind that choice because there's no way it's easy to turn Eddie Murphy into 3 completely different characters, including an old Asian man named Mr. Wall. Next up, the Oscars are notorious for ignoring comedic films and actors when it comes to their nods, even when it comes to the best of the best. One comedy film that did get some love from the Academy, Tropic Thunder, surprisingly. Robert Downey Jr. received an Oscar nomination for his portrayal as an actor who wore blackface for an entire film within a film, which was a controversial move to say the least. We're still scratching our heads over this one. Speaking of actors we did not expect to get Oscar recognition, mostly due to the nature of the film they acted in, Johnny Depp was given a nod for his portrayal as Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Johnny's hilarious and original pirate character became an icon overnight and allowed the film to blossom into a huge franchise for Disney. But considering Best Actor nods usually go to actors portraying real people or really intense dramatic characters, this was one nomination we never saw coming. Next up, when it comes to the Oscars, it isn't always the most popular films that get nominated, but it's almost always the critically acclaimed ones that do. That's why it was so shocking when the film Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close was nominated for Best Picture in 2012. Critics gave the film a score of just 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, which does not exactly scream Best Film of the Year. This was one of the few times where the overall critics' reviews and the Academy's choice of Best Picture nominee just did not add up. Our next shocking Oscar-nominated movie is also the most recent on this list. The internet was beyond shook when it was announced that The Boss Baby was nominated for Best Animated Feature this year. A few came to The Boss Baby's defense. Many were outraged that the film got a nod over the Lego Batman movie, and honestly, I don't even want to think about the chaos that will erupt if The Boss Baby ends up winning the category. Another movie we're still trying to erase from our memories but managed to score a few nods from the Academy was Star Wars Episode 1. Fans of the original Star Wars trilogy were outraged when The Phantom Menace did not come near to meeting their expectations, so hearing that it was Oscar nominated in 2000 felt like rubbing salt in the wound. Of course, the Academy wasn't completely insane with their choice because the film was nominated for Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, and Best Visual Effects, and however you feel about Episode 1, you gotta admit that they did more than a solid job in those categories for 1999. Next up is a movie that can call itself a guilty pleasure and an Oscar nominee. 50 Shades of Grey was nominated for Best Original Song in 2016, thanks to The Weeknd's sultry hit Earned It. While the song was surely inspired by the film's subject matter, we're guessing The Weeknd didn't need a lot of help from the movie to write those seductive lyrics. Next up, one type of film we hardly ever see get recognized by the Academy is the romantic comedy, but the 1984 rom-com Splash did just that. Splash, starring Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, is the classic tale of a regular dude falling in love with a mermaid who has legs when she's on land and a fin when she's in water. The film was nominated for a Best Original Screenplay Oscar in 1985, but sadly lost to a Depression-era movie called Places in the Heart that, spoiler alert, was a lot more depressing. Another film that shocked everyone when it received a Best Original Screenplay Oscar was 1984's Beverly Hills Cop, starring Eddie Murphy. Just like comedies and rom-coms, it's very rare for the Academy to recognize action comedies, but they did just that when they nominated this script in 1985. Of course, just like Splash, that same year it also lost to that Depression-era movie. The Oscars sure do know their brand when it comes time to choosing their winners, no matter how crazy they get with the nominations every now and then. Last but not least, Suicide Squad had mixed reviews. Honestly, I loved it, but that didn't stop it from being good enough for an Oscar nomination. The Academy gave the film a nod for Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling, which the film ended up winning. We're actually okay with that because those artists did an amazing job recreating the looks of those iconic comic characters, and hey, Suicide Squad even got a sequel greenlit. That rounds out our list of the most shocking Oscar-nominated movies. So now I want to know which movies nominated on this list surprised you the most. Sound off in the comment section below, and after that, click right over here to check out roles actors surprisingly turned down. Thanks so much for joining me on Listed, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more Clevver. I'm your host, Drew Dorsey, and I'll see you next time.